She married a stranger just to stay in United States. No love, no promises, just papers and survival. But as their fake marriage slowly turned into something real, she began to trust him with her heart. Until one shocking knock at the door changed everything. Standing there was a beautiful woman with tears in her eyes, saying, "I'm his fiancée, and you're living in my house." Welcome to Tales by Sam, where every story pulls you in and never lets go. Sit back, listen close, and let the journey begin. Don't forget to subscribe and join the adventure. The first time Amara Okafor saw David Williams, he was standing outside a small immigration office in Houston, arguing with a parking meter. "This machine hates immigrants," he muttered. Amara tried not to laugh. She had arrived from Lagos 8 months earlier on a student visa, studying nursing while juggling 2 part-time jobs. Life in America was not the glowing dream many people imagined. It was long shifts, expensive rent, cold winters, and pretending not to cry when homesickness struck at midnight. David noticed her smile. "You understand these machines?" "No," she said, "but I understand stubborn men." He laughed. That was the start. They met again a week later at a Nigerian grocery store, then again at a bus stop, then at a church fundraiser. Houston, with all its highways and crowds, somehow kept pushing them together. David was 32, American-born, warm-hearted, and a little messy. He worked in logistics for a shipping company and lived alone in a modest apartment. His mother was from Jamaica, his father from Louisiana. He loved spicy food, old soul music, and talking to strangers like they were cousins. Amara was careful, disciplined, and tired of surprises. One evening, after helping her carry groceries, David asked, "Why do you always look like you're solving a problem?" "Because I usually am," she finally told him. Her tuition had increased. Her work hours were reduced. Her visa status would expire if she dropped below required credits. She needed money she didn't have. David listened quietly. Then he said something outrageous. "What if we get married?" Amara nearly dropped a bag of yam flour. "What? Paper marriage," he said quickly. "Legal. Clean. I help you stay. You pay me back when you're stable. We both move on later." She stared at him. "You are insane." "Maybe. But I'm serious." For 2 weeks she ignored him. Then rent was due. Tuition notice arrived. Her manager cut another shift. Desperation changes the sound of crazy ideas. They met at a diner. "I have rules," she said. David straightened. "Okay. No touching. No pretending in private. No emotional nonsense. We do this respectfully." He grinned. "Anything else?" "Yes. If you break my trust once, it ends." 3 weeks later, they stood in a courthouse with 2 strangers as witnesses. Amara wore a blue dress she already owned. David wore a wrinkled shirt. When the judge declared them married, neither smiled. Outside the courthouse, David held out his hand. "Congratulations, wife." She shook it once. "Don't enjoy this." He laughed, but neither of them knew that fake marriages have a dangerous habit. Sometimes they become real. Marriage paperwork required shared evidence, joint bills, shared address, photos, daily routines, which meant Amara had to move into David's apartment. "This couch is unacceptable," she said on arrival. "It has character. It has stains. That's history." She bought cleaning supplies immediately. Within 1 month, his apartment transformed. The fridge held actual vegetables. Laundry was folded. Plants appeared by the window. Shoes lined up properly. David complained loudly and enjoyed every second of it. Amara discovered he was kinder than she expected. He drove her to class at 6 a.m. without complaint. He learned how to cook jollof rice badly, then less badly. He sat outside the hospital after her late shifts, just so she wouldn't ride home alone. David discovered Amara laughed when sleepy, sang while chopping onions, and cried quietly during sad commercials. Neither acknowledged the growing warmth between them. Then immigration scheduled a surprise interview. They had 10 days to prepare. "What side of the bed do I sleep on?" David asked. "You don't sleep near me." For the interview. "Left. What toothpaste do you use?" "Mint. What's my favorite food?" "Anything fried." He grinned. "You know me. I know your cholesterol." They practiced late into the night, laughing harder than either meant to. One rainy evening the power went out. Candles flickered across the apartment. Thunder shook the windows. Amara hated thunderstorms, though she rarely admitted fear. When lightning cracked, she flinched. David noticed. "You okay?" "I'm fine." Another thunderclap. She moved closer without thinking. He said nothing, only sat beside her on the floor. Minutes passed in soft candlelight. Then she whispered, "Why are you helping me this much?" He answered honestly, "Because no one should have to fight alone." Something inside her loosened. She rested her head on his shoulder. Neither moved for a long time. The interview came and went smoothly. They answered every question perfectly. "How did you meet?" "Parking meter." "Who cooks more?" "She does." "What annoys you most?" "He leaves cabinet doors open." The officer barely looked up. "You two seem natural," he said. Outside the building, they laughed with relief. Then David kissed her. It was quick, startled, instinctive. They both froze. "I'm sorry," he said immediately. Amara touched her lips. "Don't apologize for something you meant." He stared. That night, the couch remained empty. For 3 beautiful months, they stopped pretending. There were no more rehearsed answers, no more fake smiles for paperwork, no more separate lives hidden under one roof. What had started as an arrangement slowly became a home. Amara would wake up before sunrise for hospital rotations and find David already in the kitchen, half awake, trying to make coffee. "You put salt instead of sugar again," she said one morning. He tasted it, made a face, and shrugged. "Adds character." She laughed so hard she nearly dropped her bag. At night, they cooked together in the small apartment kitchen, bumping shoulders while arguing over recipes. "You cannot rush stew," Amara said. "You can if you're hungry. That explains everything wrong with your cooking." He would chase her around the counter with a wooden spoon until both of them were breathless with laughter. On Sundays, they stayed in pajamas till noon, watching old movies and debating endings. David liked happy endings. Amara claimed realistic endings were better. "You just don't trust happiness," he told her once. She looked away because he was right. Bit by bit, David made the apartment feel like somewhere she belonged. And bit by bit, Amara let herself believe love had found her in the strangest possible way. Weeks later, graduation day arrived. Amara stood in her nursing gown outside the auditorium in Houston, nervous hands clasped together. "I look ridiculous," she muttered. "You look expensive," David said proudly. She rolled her eyes. Inside the hall, when her name was called, David jumped to his feet before anyone else. "That's my wife," he shouted. Several people turned. Amara wanted to disappear. But when she looked into the crowd and saw him clapping with tears in his eyes, her own eyes filled too. Later that night, they celebrated with takeout food and cheap sparkling juice. "You did it," David said softly. "No," she corrected. "We did it." He kissed her forehead. For the first time in years, Amara felt safe. Then everything fell apart. It was a Tuesday evening. Rain tapped lightly against the windows, while Amara folded laundry in the bedroom. David was in the kitchen singing badly while making pasta. There was a sharp knock at the door. "Can you get that?" he called. Amara opened it. A woman stood there in a fitted coat, elegant and beautiful, with the kind of confidence that enters a room before words do. She held a phone in one hand and anger in the other. "Is David home?" Amara hesitated. "Yes. Who are you?" The woman's eyes moved past her into the apartment. Then she said the words that froze the room. "I'm David's fiancée." Amara's fingers tightened on the doorknob. David appeared from the kitchen carrying a spoon. The moment he saw the woman, the color drained from his face. "Rachel!" The spoon dropped to the floor. Rachel stepped inside without permission. "So this is where you disappeared to," she said bitterly. "You stopped returning calls, stopped answering messages, and now I find out you're married?" Amara slowly turned to David. "Married?" Rachel laughed sharply. "That part is new to me, too." David rubbed his forehead. "Rachel, this isn't what it looks like." "Oh, please. Men always say that when caught." Amara's voice was calm, which made it more dangerous. "Who is she?" David swallowed. "We were engaged." The room went silent except for the rain. Rachel crossed her arms. "Were?" "Yes," David said. "We were over." Rachel's eyes flashed. "Over? You vanished after postponing our wedding twice. That's not ending things, David. That's cowardice." Amara stepped back as if the truth itself had touched her. "You told me there was no one serious before me." David looked at her helplessly. "I wanted to explain." "When?" she asked. "After I trusted you? After I loved you?" Rachel looked from one to the other and suddenly understood. "Oh," she said quietly. "You fell for her." David said nothing. That silence was answer enough. Rachel laughed once, but there were tears in it. "You deserve each other." She turned and walked out, slamming the door so hard a picture frame fell from the wall. Amara began packing immediately. "Please," David said, "let me explain. You had many chances. It wasn't like that." She zipped her suitcase. "Then tell me what it was." He ran both hands through his hair. "We had problems for over a year. Constant fights. Different goals. We kept postponing the wedding. I knew it was over. But you never ended it." "I didn't know how." "No," Amara said sharply. "You didn't want discomfort." He flinched. "And while avoiding honesty with her, you built something with me. I didn't plan this." "That does not make it better." She picked up her bag. "I loved you," she whispered. His face broke. "I still do," she added. "That's why I have to leave." She walked out before he could stop her. The next weeks were cold, even in Texas heat. Amara moved into a co-worker's spare room. She focused on work, long shifts, and exhaustion. She smiled for patients and cried in showers. Her hospital job officially began. She should have felt victorious. Instead, success felt lonely. David called every day. She blocked him. He emailed. She ignored him. Flowers arrived at reception. She gave them away. Still, some nights she would hear a bad song in a store and think of his terrible singing in the kitchen. Some wounds are hardest because they come from people who once healed you. One Sunday after church, she stepped outside and saw him sitting on a bench near the entrance. He looked thinner, tired, nervous. "You look terrible," she said. "You always knew how to flirt." She almost smiled, then caught herself. "What do you want?" He held out an envelope. Inside were signed divorce papers. She frowned. "It annuls everything," he said. "You're free legally and financially. I transferred money too. Half the savings. I don't want your money." "I know, but I owe you fairness." She looked at the papers. "I won't keep you tied to a marriage built on half-truths," he said quietly. For the first time, she saw no charm in him. No jokes. No escape. Only honesty. "I ended things with Rachel months before I kissed you," he continued. "But I never gave closure. I ghosted conflict like a coward. That hurt her, and it hurt you. I own that." Amara said nothing. "I loved you before I understood it," he said. "No papers. No deal. No immigration story. Just you. And losing you made me realize I'd rather face pain honestly than hide from it comfortably. Her eyes burned. Do you know what you broke? She asked. Yes. My trust. I know. My peace. I know. My belief that this was real. He nodded slowly. I know. Silence sat between them. Then she tore the papers in half. David stared. She tore them again. What are you doing? Being foolish, she said. He stood. Amara, you are still an idiot. I know. You are selfish. I know. You snore. He blinked. That seems unrelated. She laughed through tears. Then she stepped closer. But you learned. His voice shook. Does that mean? It means if there is ever a next chapter, we begin honestly. He dropped to one knee right there beside the church bench. People nearby gasped. Amara Okafor, he said, trembling. Will you marry me this time with no lies, no shortcuts, and no paperwork as an excuse? She cried openly now. Yes. The church crowd burst into applause. An old woman shouted, About time. David stood, laughing and crying at once, and Amara kissed him in front of everyone. Months later, when they married again, there were no immigration forms, no rehearsed answers, no fear, only vows they meant. And this time, when the judge declared them husband and wife, they both smiled first. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more powerful stories.